Thank you for buying the definitive guide to getting married on Skye. Bit of a long title, I know, but essentially that's what this film is about. Everything you need to know to get married on the Isle of Skye. So, what do we cover? To start with, we cover locations. Let's face it, it's the main reason you're looking to get married here. There are many locations on Skye, and we'll take you through each one, which includes all the well-known ones and a few not so well-known. Next up is accommodation, the food, the transport, the weather, which has more of an impact than you might think, the celebrant, and although a touch boring, the also important legalities of getting married in Scotland and having your marriage recognised in other countries. We have an interview with Rosie, a superb wedding photographer, the local celebrant, Sonia, and Stuart, who runs his own luxury transport company here on Skye. Along the way, clickable links will appear up here. These will take you to the relevant pages on our website, or to the websites of the interviewees. We have really tried to make this whole process as simple as possible for you. Plus, the website has been designed to complement this film. Every possible link or bit of information is included in there as well. So you can now sit back and relax and know that you've got it all covered.
Besides the Highlander magic, it is really, I think that Skye has a magic pull because the landscape is so clean, it's so honest, and it has some magic to it. And because of most of my wedding ceremonies have been held outside, so you are really surrounded by the beauty of the landscape and the elements and the weather and also the history of the island.
This is the Misty Isle, a boat that will take you from Elgol into the heart of the Cuillins. This is called Loch Carrusk. For those adventurous couples that wish to spend their wedding outdoors, Loch Carrusk may be just the place for you. Surrounded by the Black Cuillins, Loch Carrusk is an inland freshwater loch which is only accessible by boat from Elgol or by a 9-kilometre walk. I know which one I'd be going for. Donnan Castle isn't strictly speaking on the Isle of Skye, but it is located right before the Skye Bridge. For all those brides who dream of their fairy tale wedding in a castle, this is the location you're looking for. With stunning seaside views and inside an authentic 13th century Scottish castle, Donnan provides a warm Highland welcome to all wedding guests, and yours will be a wedding talked about for many years to come. Here we are at Dunvegan Castle. Dunvegan Castle is one of only 2 fully intact castles on the Isle of Skye. It offers a 5-star service for any wedding on its grounds. It caters to wedding parties of up to 65 people, meaning that you can host your reception inside the castle itself. You can also select whether you want to get married within the building or on the grounds, weather permitting of course. Nice Point is the most westerly point on the island. The lighthouse you see in the background is under private ownership, but can be the ideal backdrop for your wedding. It's accessible by what I consider the most rustic road on Skye. It's about 30 minutes on a single track road with an amazingly rewarding view. There are many potential spots here that would suit your wedding, and on a very nice day, you can even see out as far as the Outer Hebrides. One point to consider is that if you are wanting to get married next to the lighthouse itself, it takes about 15 minutes to walk there from the car park, but it does offer some amazing views. The Fairy Glen is one of the most popular spots on Skye to get married. Located on the Trotternish Peninsula, it's easy to get to and always stunning regardless of the weather. The glen is made up of many mountains and lochans with a single track road running through. During the summer months it can get quite busy, which, along with limited parking, can make it a challenge to get to. If you are looking for a stunning backdrop to your wedding, then Fairy Glen has to be considered. Well, what can we say about the fairy pools? It is the #1 thing to do on Skye, and it's no wonder. Situated at the foot of the Black Coolins, you couldn't ask for a more epic landscape. The first pool is located 1 kilometre from the nearest parking spot, which takes about 15 minutes. When dry, this isn't an issue. However, in the wet, you do need to consider wearing a pair of wellies to help you cross all of the streams. The best time to get married here is first thing in the morning when it's quiet and you get that awesome light from the rising sun. One quick point to note, when getting married outdoors is the importance of having a plan B, just in case the weather isn't on your side. We talk about this more in the weather section. Welcome to the Old Man of Storr. If you've ever googled the island of Skye, this is going to be the first image you'll see. It's been in films like Prometheus and The Wicker Man, but don't let that put you off. Storr has a number of fantastic viewpoints, which makes it ideal for your video and photographs. It's a 20-minute car journey north of Portree, the main settlement on Skye. Once parked up, the journey is on foot, which takes between 45 minutes to an hour depending on your fitness levels. This is my favourite location on Skye, the Kerrang, a truly iconic landscape. If you've ever seen Macbeth, the BFG, Stardust, for that I'm sorry, Snow White and the Huntsman, or the Last Night Transformers movie, you'll probably recognise the Kerrang. Whichever way you turn, there is an epic view, and that is what makes the Kerrang so special. I'll shut up now and just let the camera do the talking. Beaches on the Isle of Skye are a bit like hen's teeth, but when you do find one, they're pretty nice. This one is called Coral Beach. It overlooks Loch Dunvegan and is ideal for your beach wedding. On a sunny day, it's very hard to differentiate between Skye and the Caribbean. On other days, it's pretty easy to see the difference. Coral Beach is a bit out of the way, and because of this, it's really quiet. There and back again is 3.4 kilometres, but it truly is worth it. Well, that's the main locations taken care of. But, like this churchyard behind me here, there are plenty of other places to get married as well. There are links to all the locations on our website, but it is best to speak to your photographer or celebrant about locations. Accommodation. Skye is full of it. There are bed and breakfasts, hotels, shepherd's huts, wigwams, camping and thatched cottages like this one here. On our website is a link to another site which has a list to all the accommodation on the island. Here are a few hints and tips. Skye is a very popular island, so you have to book everything well in advance. That goes double for your accommodation. During the summer months, walk-ins are pretty rare, so it's really important to be extra organised when arranging your trip. As I mentioned in the location section, pick your accommodation based upon your wedding location. You don't want to be driving for a couple of hours after your wedding ceremony. And that's it. Pretty easy. Before we move on to our transport chapter, if you'd like to book Mary's Thatched Cottages, please click on the link up here. Transport. Of course, Skye is still an island, but we have a bridge as you can see here. For those of us nostalgics, you can still go over the sea to Skye. This is by the Glenelg Callery Ferry, which runs between April and October, or the much larger Mallaig Armadale Ferry, which runs all year round. The main reason for this segment in the film is really to point out the lack of convenient public transport. In essence, you really need to hire a car to get anywhere. This can be from Skye Car Hire in Kyle, but more than likely from the airport you land at. However, if you're looking to travel in style, Stuart McKinnon from Misty Isle Tours will be more than happy to assist.
You really need to bear in mind that for most people, coming to Skye and driving on the roads here is totally different from what they're used to. It's not just no motorway roads, it's single track roads a lot of the way. There's potholes, there's corners. People need to be ready for that. So most people like to hire someone to drive them. You need to book well in advance. It's a small place and it gets busy, especially in the summer. And there's only a very limited number of transport providers on the island. So if you have something in mind that you want, then you really need to get it booked well in advance. We've got two vehicles, both are very much the luxury end of the market. We've got this one, the Jaguar XJ, long wheelbase, so plenty of room for the bride and groom in the back. It's got everything they could need. They can even have the seats, massage them as they head in to relax them for the big day. And we've got a Mercedes V-Class. It's an 8-seater, so plenty of room for guests. If they're taking the bridal party, then they can travel in style in that. The biggest issue brides face, of course, is the weather, and that's a big issue with anything up here. You've got to be prepared for anything. It's okay to say plan around the weather, but you don't know what it'll be beforehand. So come prepared for the worst, and hopefully you'll get the best. My top tip for marrying in Skye is just if you're ready to get married, do it. Don't prolong it because you're waiting for the right time of year or the right weather. The great thing about Skye is that there is really no right time of year. You're as likely to have rain in the summer as you are in the winter, and thankfully you're also as likely to have sunshine in the winter. As you can see in a winter's day like this, it can be absolutely beautiful. So if you're planning to get married, don't sit and think, well, I'll leave it till the middle of the summer. Just find when you can get here, book it up, and come and enjoy your big day.
Next up is one of Skye's most famous assets. It's food. As you'll know, Skye is a small island, so it's surrounded by the sea. This makes fishing a major employer on the island. This means that restaurants on Skye take full advantage of this. What type of seafood, I hear you ask? Langoustine lobsters. Tasty. You won't be short of options either. There are Michelin star restaurants, fish and chip shops, pubs, caterers for small and large parties, or even a burger van if that's your type of thing. But what better way to learn about the food on Skye than by speaking with Skye's very own Christina from the Harbour restaurant in Broadford.
I think the ingredients, the local ingredients you can get here, they're super top quality. You can get fantastic seafood, from langoustines to magnificent scallops. They're amazing, and lovely mussels, and a lot of fish. A lot of people don't actually work the fish. They just kind of stuck with farm salmon, and that's it. I try to work a lot with local fish, flatfish, cod, haddock. You can get even octopus here when not a lot of people work with it, and I do because I love it, and all sorts of shellfish, clams, razor clams, mussels. I think that's a good source of seafood and fish with a fantastic quality, but you cannot get the same quality in other places. But we got very good suppliers in the island, and we don't need like 3 months in advance to know. If you know the numbers, you know the menu, with 2 weeks before, I can make sure the produce is here, the produce is going to be fresh, and it's going to be all done in time. You know, you don't need, in some places they need to have 3 months in advance, 4 months in advance, because who knows where they're coming. But if you buy local, you can call your suppliers, get there, listen, I need this amount of kilos of mussels, I need this, and they can take the things here pretty quickly. Another way to focus the wedding, in one way make it more familiar, because this isn't a small restaurant, and not make something really like a standard. And as well, to add the Mediterranean touch and relaxed touch, meeting the people as a chef as well, connecting with the people, not being always close in the kitchen, and interacting with the bride and the groom, with the family, and make the day a little bit special, you know, not just have a wedding, we're going to eat and that's it. No, to have something a little bit more personal. If you go to a big place to have a wedding with 200 people, it's not going to be the same if you do an intimate wedding with your best friends and your family, and you can add your personal touch of it. Because we only can see 28 people at the time, so it's tiny. But that's, as you said, you can do it something very personal. Put the decoration they like. They can choose with you the menu they like. You don't offer. I will offer like a personalized menu. You know, just say, okay, I offer you this and this and this and this, a standard. No, what do you fancy? What do you like? You want to experiment with something? They can come and try the food a few days before, and they like. Let's go for it.
is a very rugged island, and with that comes very changeable weather. Not only does the weather have an impact on our sound, but it will have an impact on your special day as well.
Sometimes the weather can be really, really wild, and the rain never comes straight down. It always comes horizontal, as you know. And yeah, so I highly emphasize on couples to have a plan B.
So if the weather isn't great, then we can do what needs to be done with the hair and makeup to have it securely in place. Or, you know, you can't be too set in what you want when you're coming to get married in Skye, because, you know, the weather does change a lot.
You know, sometimes we just wait on the day and say, we look at the weather forecast in the morning, we say, you know, if we can't do it in the morning, we just wait and postpone the wedding ceremony a little bit.
I did get married on Skye. I chose Skye House Hotel. We got married a few years ago. It was such a beautiful location. Because the weather is so changeable on Skye, you have to have a plan B. I could either get married outside if it was nice in the grounds of the hotel, or we could get married inside. We chose there because it was just a perfect location for us.
When you book your wedding on Skye, if it's outdoors, it's always a really good idea to have a plan B as well. For example, if you're getting married in Loch Carrusk, you need a boat to get there. High winds will stop this immediately. Not only is it dangerous, but your guests will get seasick as well.
The weather can be very changeable here in Elville, but we've got a very good idea on the morning of your trip what the weather will be like. It isn't so much the rain that stops us going over to Loch Carrusk, it's the wind and the sea conditions that will prevent it. We have to take into consideration the safety of the trip. So.
This is Carrusk House, situated just under 2 kilometres from the Elgol Pier, your ideal location for your indoor wedding, and even more ideal for your plan B. So, at what point do you need your plan B? Well, we all know now that Skye has high winds and heavy rain, which is more common in the winter, but can happen at any point as well. You really have to make the call on the day of your wedding, so it makes sense to book your plan B alongside your plan A just in case. For those of you that think you can escape the Skye weather by using an umbrella, Indy here is going to demonstrate what happens when you use a brolly on Skye. Indy?
In all honesty, on a good day, it cannot be beaten. And even in changeable weather, maybe not ideal weather, if you've still got the right mentality, it's still a fantastic place to visit and to go on your special day.
The most important element of your wedding is the celebrant. So for that, I'll pass the torch over to Sonia at Heart and Soul Ceremonies.
My first development on Skye was actually my own wedding 23 years ago, because I was fascinated by the magic of the island, and it just happened, that we decided at the time to come here to get married just with a little group of people and got married on Skye. Little did I know that I would do, like 15 years down the road, that I would actually become a celebrant and marry people here. So there are different kinds of celebrant trainings, and my training is for independent celebrant and interfaith ministry, which means that we can embrace all faith traditions that are on this planet, and we can support people in whatever background they're coming from. And my training teaches us the 8 most known world traditions. It's a 2-year training, and during that training we get a glimpse of what these traditions are standing for. So it's from being Christian to Muslim to Jewish to Hinduism, paganism, shamanism. So if people approach us and they come from different backgrounds, we have an idea of where they're coming from. And then together with the couple, I create the ceremony that truly reflects them in their very own unique way. And it means that as a celebrant we are non-denominational, we are in service of the couple. And really that's the main theme of our training, is to say we are the people's ministers. That's what we really love about it. It's almost being an author of everybody's wedding, really kind of bringing in and really seeing, when they come from different countries like New Zealand or, coming here, or the couple is from different countries, we try to find, what is it, that reflects your heritage, and bring that in. And and it can be hand fasting in Quaich is very Scottish, traditional Celtic, which people love because they love the Highlander idea of getting married on Skye, but also very fresh and modern humanist style weddings, or pagan weddings where we call in the directions and honor the land and bring in the fairies and the different gods, and from the Norwegian backgrounds, which is quite suitable for this landscape as well. And so whatever really, the people's background is, we can craft that in. So mostly my inquiries come via my website, so it's on email. So I have I respond with a general information for the couple. They ask me about the legalities of it, the dates. We have to sort out the date, of about availabilities, and then the terminology, what kind of weddings they want. And I send them an information sheet with all the information that they need to know. And we can have a Skype meeting as well, just to see if we can work with each other, or if they would like to work with me. And then once they have decided on booking me as the celebrant, I will then send out homework. It's really a journey with the couple, really getting to know them, or if they have no idea where they're going with it, I try to find out what kind of music they like, just to see, is there lyrics in it that really reflects them, or what they like to do for hobbies. Really kind of getting a feeling for what the couple is, to really bring that in and craft it around them as people. And the homework is, what's very important to me is that I send out a questionnaire, and it has about 12 questions, and they include how they first met, what they thought about each other when they first met, why they fell in love with each other, and what their common ground is, what their challenges are, what they love most about each other. And I'm asking them for a photo as well, so I can really tune into them if I cannot meet them in person. And that questionnaire is there to help the couple to really focus on why they want to get married, really about the deeper questions about each other, and it helps them prepare their own vows, if they chose to have own vows. And I use their answers with the permission of the couple, but I will use the answers to the questionnaire to write my speech to the couple. So it's really very important to craft the whole ceremony about those two people in particular. There's no one-fits-all ceremony. But I will also send out templates for ceremonies with examples so the couple can have an idea of how a ceremony can flow. And which they usually, ask me, they don't know where to begin. So this helps the couple to structure the flow of a ceremony in their head. And then I bring examples, readings, poems, music. The couple adds what they want. I encourage them to have their families included, with readings or with songs or little rituals. And then we craft that ceremony together. And often it's via the internet, via email. So once we decided for a template, we send that forcing back between us until it really is the ceremony for the couple. I do have lots of young couples, I have old couples, I have hand fastings, wedding vow renewals or deepening of vows. We have same-sex weddings. We have family blessings, couples who bring children into the marriage, from previous marriages. And so the training is really about being all-inclusive and non-discriminative. And that's a code of ethics that we obey to. It is, walk your talk and embrace the beauty of every single person.
The legal bit isn't the most exciting of subjects, when all you're looking to do is seal your bond as a couple. But it is a necessity. So, without dragging this on more than it needs to be, let's crack on. Scottish marriage laws are some of the most flexible in the UK. Yet, they're still there, so you must be aware of them before planning your big day.
Yeah, couples come from all over the world to get legally married on Skye, and their marriage is legally recognized in all of the countries all over the world, and there's no further ceremony necessary. People from outside Europe, they have to apply for a marriage visa to travel into the country rather than traveling on a tourist visa, and that can take some time. And if people want to avoid all the legal paperwork and the stress of having the paperwork back in time, they sometimes decide to have the legal part at the registry office where they live and then come over to Scotland and get married in a more relaxed way. And the ceremony itself, there's nothing different to the ceremony itself, but that at the end I would not pronounce them husband and wife because that's a legal term. I would just introduce them as husband and wife, and there will be no signing at the end. So it's the same content of the ceremony with less stress. Even so, it's a straightforward process in Scotland. The couple has to be aware that they have to apply for the marriage schedule, and they say the registrar needs a minimum of 29 days for the process and usually not earlier than 3 months. And I mean, it's really straightforward in Scotland because in Scotland, the legality comes with the person. So I'm authorized to perform a legal marriage by the General Registrar Office in Edinburgh. So I can go anywhere with the couple because the license comes with me rather than with the building. But what we need is there is a process that the registry office needs to take the couple through. So they have to do that at the registry office nearest to the chosen venue of their wedding. So it has to be here in Skye, and they can do that online. And there is a form online that's called M10. That's the application form for the marriage schedule. And the marriage schedule will be produced for the couple after the registrar has been satisfied that there are no legal impediments.
There are a few instances when you can't get married. For example, if you're already in a marriage, in a civil partnership, under 16 years of age, close relatives, if you're incapable of understanding the nature of a marriage ceremony, and of consenting to marriage.
And once the registrar is satisfied, they produce the marriage schedule, and the couple has to pick up that marriage schedule in person at the registry office within 3 days prior to their marriage. And that's the only time where the couple has to appear in person. Everything else can be done prior to the wedding by mail or phone or email. In that document, the couple has to bring that document, the marriage schedule, to the wedding ceremony. And after I have pronounced the couple husband and wife, Then the couple, 2 witnesses and myself, we have to sign. The names of the witnesses have to appear on the marriage schedule. So it's important for the registrar to know the names. And we often help them out with either the photographer is one of the witnesses or the piper. Or if they don't have neither of them, I ask friends to come along. So I discuss that with the couple. And anybody can be a witness that is over 16 years old and speaks the same language. And after that, that marriage schedule goes back to the registry office only for the marriage to be registered in Pottery. And for people from abroad, they then get a certificate of that marriage and they take it home, and then they have to go to their home registry office to have their marriage registered in their home town as well. But there's no further legal ceremony required.
In Scotland, a religious or belief ceremony can be held anywhere by the couple and the approved celebrant. But a civil marriage can take place in a registrar's office or any other appropriate place approved by the couple in the local registration authority. You and your partner will have to give notice to the district registrar for the areas where you intend to marry. This applies to religious or civil marriages. And we're proud to say here that in Scotland, same-sex marriages are legal.
So high up, my feet can't touch the ground. My ears can't hear the sound of the tongue. Reach the skies, we'll fly up to the moon. I know we'll be there soon, wait and see.
Now that you know all about the legalities, it's time to talk to some of the talent here on Skye. We all know that photography is a priority, so let me introduce you to Rosie from Love Skye Photography.
Yes, I'm Rosie Woodhouse and I'm a photographer. My company is called Love Skye Photography. The initial contact I get from nearly everybody is via my website at Love Skye Photography, get an email in from them, quick email back just to start a chat off about what your plans are for your wedding. And then we can arrange to make a phone call, have a Skype. Usually what we do is just get involved in an email chat or on WhatsApp. And it's a really good way of just going backwards and forwards of ideas and planning. I think the first thing brides do, or would be wise to do when they're looking to come to Skye, is think about the time of year they're coming. Think about if they're coming on their own or if they're bringing people with them, because you're going to be looking for a venue, if you're going to be bringing a bigger party with you. If you're just coming with yourself and your partner, then your wedding can be anywhere out in the wild. It can be as flexible as you want it to be. In terms of choosing the suppliers that you're working with, most people will initially want to look for the celebrant who's going to conduct their service and the photographer. Those are the 2 first things that most people look for. I just can't emphasise that enough, how many talented wedding suppliers there are on Skye. There's numerous photographers, there's numerous celebrants, there's videographers, there's wonderful cake makers, there's hair and makeup artists, there's great accommodation, there's wonderful food. It's absolutely got everything you need to do your wedding right here in Skye. You don't need to look any further afield. I think the weather in Skye is very changeable, and it's the classic, if you don't like the weather now, just wait half an hour and it'll be something different. You'll probably see it while we're filming just now, that 1 minute it's sunny and then the clouds come rolling in. You have to be prepared for anything. Even in the middle of summer, there can be rain and high winds that could maybe affect something like a boat trip to Loch Carus. So even in winter, you can have a fantastic sunny day with the most beautiful light. It can be one of my favourite times to photograph, but it will be cold. Essentially, I'm really prepared for filming in whatever weather it is. I often get asked, what if it rains, what will we do? Can you still carry on and photograph? Absolutely fine. My equipment's all weather sealed. It's not a problem. I've seen it out in the worst of weathers in Skye, and the results are still absolutely beautiful. I think the thing is for the bride and groom to be really prepared. Make sure you have waterproof clothes, warm clothes, wraps, and really, really good footwear. Can't emphasise that enough. I think this is an ideal example. From my point of view as a photographer, the light at this time of year is absolutely gorgeous, anytime from October through till April. However, it can be really cold. And I know I get a lot of brides coming from the Midwest who find it absolutely freezing here. So it might be something to really consider. If you really feel that the cold would be uncomfortable for you or your party, go for one of the summer months. The temperature in Skye is never really going to be more than 25 at its absolute peak. So you might want to consider that. And at this time of year, it can be down to -2. So it's going to make a difference to what you wear and how comfortable you are. you are in your day. But in terms of the light and the beauty of the scenery, it's gorgeous all year round. I guess I do have quite a set style of working. I'm a landscape photographer who came to photographing weddings. So a real clear focus of my work is incorporating you into the landscape here on Skye. And I think that's something that the couples I work with are really keen for. They're looking for a wild, romantic look, and that's what I try to give them. It's very much focused on the landscapes, but creating beautiful images where they fit into that landscape. Well, usually when we're chatting before your wedding, we'll have planned locations that we want to go to and we want to shoot at. Sometimes that's a little bit adapted depending on the weather and the light on the day. But when we arrive, we're arriving somewhere like this beautiful old stone church in a glorious location in the south of Skye. And there's immediately loads of different options I can see for creating some beautiful images around here. One of the first would be using the old stone wall of this beautiful building. And as we come around the corner here, you can actually see there's some really gorgeous mountains just snow-covered and lit up by some beautiful winter light just now. So I would probably have the couple standing, sheltering from the slightly cold wind against this wall, and we get some beautiful shots running down there and some nice portraits with that gorgeous stone just to fix the location of where we are. If we turn this way, there's lovely light hitting the hills and blabbing into the distance, and a beautiful loch. And the one shot that particularly stands out to me here would be this beautiful skyline across here, where I would be having a couple standing here and I would be shooting from a very low angle, so we compress the distance and we would just have the couple with that beautiful skyline.
And that's really it. We've covered everything you need to know on getting married on Skye. If you don't think we have, please drop me an email and I will try and answer, but most of all, include the answer in the next version of the film. With everything changing, the film will be updated 2 to 3 times per year. If you decide against getting married this time and revisit the option further down the line, just jump back in and re-watch the updated video. Thank you very much for watching this video. We really hope you enjoyed it. And from everyone here at the Coolin Collective, good luck on your big day. Cheers.